Hi, and welcome to my Reading A to Z webinar. My name is Dana Smith, and I have been utilizing this resource since I first began teaching. I haven't been teaching long. This is currently just my fourth year. However, I was first introduced to RazPlus or Reading A to Z when I was teaching first grade in more of an urban district, and I loved it because it gave me books that students could bring home with them. A lot of the students did not have books at home. They did not have a way to read books online. So this was a great way to be able to print out books on their reading level that they would be able to enjoy and read when we weren't in school. Currently, I am an ASI basic skills teacher, and I work in small groups with students that have difficulties in reading. So whether it's their phonemic awareness, their phonics, fluency, comprehension, whatever the case is, I work with those students and I try to meet their needs. With this position, I am still using Reading A to Z on a daily basis. The website has so many research-based literacy tools and resources to use that I can be here for hours showing you all the amazing things it has to offer. I do just want to focus on a few important parts of the website, though, that I personally feel are the most helpful and the most beneficial when working with students. These resources can be used for small group, whether it's guided reading or a targeted skill group. It can also be used for whole group and independent work. My main focus will be for that small group instruction when you are really targeting those individual needs based off of assessments such as Linkit and other benchmarks. So on the website, there are a lot of different tabs available. For example, up here you see the RazPlus tab, Vocabulary A to Z, Science, Writing. I will be focusing on the RazPlus tab and then the three tabs that come along with it: Resources, File Cabinet, and Teacher Corner. I know a lot of teachers in my school use RazKids during independent reading time, and as a way for students to read at home, that's when you would use the Manage Students tab. But I will be focusing on just the RazPlus resources today that are more so for teacher readiness and the tools needed when preparing lessons. So the first thing I will show you is how to take a look at data from assessments such as Linkit and use that to find lessons and tools to teach certain skills. I will then show you how to find different level text so students are working on their instructional reading level, and how to print the books and resources. And then lastly, I will just show you a way to save all the resources that you are finding and using for later use. So when I first used this resource, I would only be going to resources and then level text, and that's something I still do a lot, but since then I have found out so many more available options to use on this platform. So the first thing I want to go over is under here in the Teacher Corner. Here you can find a few things, for example, professional development, so you can learn about the website, all about leveling here, just to see their leveling system. I want to focus on standards and correlations. This is really when you're going to take data from assessments and then use it to drive your instruction. So for example, in my district, we are currently using Linkit, and it's fairly new to us, but we are learning how to take that data and find out exactly which standards and which skills our students are struggling with, and therefore using that to help with our instruction. And Reading A to Z is a perfect tool to do that with, because right here you can go to your standards, choose your grade, and you can find any standard it is you are looking for. So for example, one of my groups is reading. I know based off of running records, they're reading at a instructional level E, so usually I will use a level E text depending on the lesson. And I know based off of Linkit data, they are struggling with story elements such as character, setting, problem, solution. So with that information that I learned from assessments, I will take that and I will click over here and I can find that standard that I want to focus on. So for example, I'm just going to take the story elements, character, setting, major events. Here it is. And right here, materials correlated to this standard. So when I click on that, it'll take you to all the resources they have. Normally, I will want to focus and use, not focus, I will want to use a book with my lesson. And I know that my students are reading at a level E, so I will try to look for that. Here's G and F, J. Here's level E, a walk with mom. So when you click on that, this is pretty much the home. This page is exactly where everything is, and this is the page you'll see for every book they have. So up here, you can see a preview of the book. You can make sure it has everything you need it. Down here is the book resources. This is where you will print the book. I usually click double-sided book so that when you print it out, all you have to do is fold it together and staple it. It's done. It's there. The students can take it. It's theirs to keep if you want them to. They can bring it home. It's another tool that they have in their back pocket to practice reading. You don't have to give it to them to keep. I also keep some for myself, but it is great to be able to print these and give them to the students. You can also use it digitally. You can pull it up on your iPad or your Chromebook and have them do it that way, but I do prefer printing them out. Then down here are all your lesson resources. So you have your guided reading lesson. If you wanted to, you can follow this to a T, and your whole lesson is worded and planned out for you. It tells you what to do before reading, during reading, and then after reading. It gives you your objectives. It tells you what you'll need for the lesson. This is great if you don't want to spend time planning. Something else they have are all your words that you might want to focus on, and then your worksheets and ways to practice the skill. So for example, I wanted to practice story elements. The worksheet is right here, and it should be there because that is what I searched when I was searching my standards. Sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes the comprehension worksheet and in the guided reading lesson won't match what you want to teach. But sometimes the book is perfect for that, and you can do that too. You can use the book and not use the resources. Use something on your own. That's something I also do. Something I really enjoy with the resources they have with each book are the discussion cards. And I like these because they are great for those higher order thinking questions when it's sometimes hard to come up with them on your own, especially when you're working with a struggling group. Sometimes when they're already having such a hard time with that comprehension, it's really hard to figure out those higher order thinking questions you want them to know. So the discussion cards are great for that. I am trying to click on them to show you. So you can use them in a discussion orally with your group, or sometimes I even like to use them as a writing activity after we read. I'll have them answer the question in writing. That's just another tool. So that was all through looking at the teacher corner and then going to standards. Another way to find these resources is going to the resource tab. It is organized by books and passages, skills, content-based units, and languages. The languages is great too because all the resources I'm showing you, they also have in other languages such as Spanish. So my school is the ELL school for Spanish-speaking students. Our ESL teachers could really benefit from using this. But I usually go to leveled text and then all leveled books. And this is where you will find everything you might possibly need. They have books all the way from AA to Z. You can select the reading level that you need. You can filter it. Maybe you want it fiction. Maybe you want to make sure it has that guided reading lesson. And then you could just select whatever book you think might seem interesting to your students. You know your students best. You know what they're interested in. Last year, I had a student love dinosaurs. So sometimes I would try to find a book that I know he would enjoy, especially when they're very hard to motivate. And it's, again, everything's here where you print it, the lesson, and all the resources you might need. So one last thing I do want to show you is the file cabinet. This is where you can save all your resources for future use. I don't use this because I usually download the books and the worksheets that I'm using and I save them to my Google Drive. But this is something you can use and then you can organize it however it is you want to organize your materials. if a lesson goes well and you feel you will use them again, here you go. They are right here and they are available for you. Besides that, there are a bunch of different things. Everything pretty much is under the resources tab. Assessments is another great tool if you want to do a quick running record or just to see where your students are in terms of phonics or their sight words or fluency. The fluency timed readings is something I've used a few times. It's a great quick way to see where your students are. And then down here are just other ways to find resources. Maybe you don't want to actually read a book. Maybe you just want to work on letter formation with your younger students. And then you can find things here as well. Everything is printable or projectable. So you can either print these materials or just project them. That is totally up to you. I have been showing you pretty much how to print everything because I do work with small group and that is what I usually do. But if you were doing whole group, you can project everything that I'm showing you. So if you were going to print, you would hit the PDF button. If you wanted to project, it's projectable. It's right here. That is up to you. Besides that, there are so many other resources. If you have any questions and are interested in this, I suggest that you reach out to me, you take a look at this because it is something that I feel everyone should take advantage of if you have it available to you. It is not a free resource. If your district has it, take advantage of it and use this to help your students reading with books that they're able to read. They will enjoy reading. They focus on targeted skills. It's great for differentiating instruction. I am currently in a grad program at Rutgers, and I did my last research synthesis on differentiating instruction, and research has found that that small group differentiated literacy instruction that targets specific needs has its advantages, and this is pretty much everything you need to be able to do that for your students. So taking assessments like Linkit, like your running records, and then using that to know where your students are, to group your students, and then taking RazKids, taking Reading A to Z, and using it to form those lessons, you are golden. If you want to take a look at this, I urge you to do so. Please reach out to me with any questions you might have. I'd be happy to help you if possible. And thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day.